Thanks for joining us today. I want to start with a simple question. When your ideal customers look for answers online, are they finding you? Search has always rewarded high quality, helpful content, but AI is now changing how that content gets discovered. Today's search engines don't just rank pages, they analyze them, they summarize them, they surface information in entirely new ways. So if your content isn't structured for machines to understand and trust, you're risking getting left out of these conversations. That's what this session is all about. We'll unpack how search is evolving, what AI powered engines value, and how your company can stay visible and credible in this new landscape. My name is Brenton, and I've spent nearly a decade helping companies improve SEO. And in recent years, I've focused on how AI is shifting the rules of visibility. At StringCan, we've developed a framework to help B2B companies go from invisible in AI-driven search to being a trusted source that gets cited, found, and chosen. So let's explore what it takes to stay discoverable, not just for today's Google, but for the future of search. I want to start by zooming out and looking at how SEO has evolved over time. Not just the tactics, but the mindset behind it. In the early 2000s, SEO was kind of like a game of tricks. If you could cram the right keywords into a page and collect a bunch of backlinks, even if they weren't relevant, you could rank. It didn't really matter how helpful your content was. What mattered was that you knew how to play the algorithm. Then in the 2010s, Google started getting smarter. It wasn't just looking at what people typed, but why they were searching. Content quality, mobile experience, and overall user intent became more important. So instead of just publishing keyword heavy pages, brands had to think about whether their content was actually useful and relevant. Now, in the 2020s, we're leaning into that even more, especially with the rise of AI in search. Now, more than ever, it's about making your content clear, structured, and authoritative enough that it can be used by search engines, whether that's Googlebot or in an AI generated answer, a featured snippet in ChatGPT. So, yes, keywords still matter, but today it's more about clarity, credibility, and content that's easy to parse, not just for people, but for machines too. To set the stage, let's zoom out and look at how search engines have always worked. At the simplest level, they're answering three questions. Can I find your page? That's the crawl. Bots go to discover your site by following links. The second question is, what's this page about? That's the index, storing and categorizing your content so it can be recalled later. And the last question is, well, which page has the best answer for what the searcher typed into the search box? That's the rank, where Google decide whose content rises to the top. So you can think of it kind of like a massive library. Crawling is the librarian finding new books. Indexing is shelving them in the right section. And then ranking is choosing which book to recommend when someone asks a question. This process has powered search since the early days of SEO, and it's important to understand because AI is starting to reshape these steps in some pretty big ways. What we're looking at here is the search and AI landscape. Up until very recently, the only thing that's existed here has been the left side of this hierarchy. SEO standing for search engine optimization, and then we're all trying to get featured in the SERPs on those result pages. We're trying to earn that page one, top one position. But over the last few years, we've introduced this whole right side of the equation, which is that we're actually now needing to develop content that's not just optimized for Google's search bot on the SEO side of things, but is also now needing to be optimized for the large language models. And this is where you're going to start to see a lot more acronyms showing up in your LinkedIn feeds and in marketing speak. So at the very top of that, you have LLMO, the large language model optimization. But there's lots of different types of large language models. So what you're often going to hear is AEO, answer engine optimization. That's where you get featured in those AI overviews when you go into Google. You also get the GEO, the generative engine optimization. This is getting cited in those generative AI interfaces like ChatGPT and Perplexity. So it's not important to really commit all of these acronyms to memory, but just to sort of see the relationship between these terms so that when people start throwing this jargon at you, you're in a better position to categorize it in your brain. So now AI engines, they work a little bit differently. This is the whole right side of that hierarchy tree that we just looked at. So if traditional search engines were like those librarians who point you to the right book, AI engines are more like consultants sitting across the table from you. They've read the books, and now they're pulling out the most relevant insights to answer your specific question. Here's how it breaks down. AI models ingest. They scan through publicly available content. They're looking for clarity, structure, and meaning that they can work with and match to what the user is talking to them about. They're actually looking to understand the content. It's evaluating the context, the tone, the credibility of a piece of content to decide, can I trust this? And finally, they respond. So instead of just listing sources in those blue links like Google search does, it synthesizes all of the information together. It gives you a synthesized answer. And if your content is strong, you might be cited directly. So the key difference is this: search is about finding content, but AI is about using it in the conversation. And if your content isn't clear, credible, and easy to interpret, you risk being left out of that conversation entirely. All right, this is the bear of a slide, but let's walk through this left to right, starting with the top bar, the blue one, where we're talking about traditional search. In the traditional search model, someone might type in a short query like best hiking boots. The search engine then matches those keywords to entire pages and assumes that there's one clear intent and then serves a ranked list of links. To find the right answer, you as the user has to now click through multiple sites to find what you're looking for. Now, if we compare that with the green bar at the bottom, we're looking at AI-powered search. Here, the user might ask a much more specific question. So instead of best hiking boots, they know that these algorithms are more sophisticated. They're going to talk in a more human way. And they're going to say things like, what are the best hiking boots for wide feet and rainy weather? So instead of just matching keywords, AI understands that there's multiple layers of intent here. The user wants to understand fit, but they also want to understand durability and weather resistance. And then they're going to pull the most relevant pieces of information from across different pages and different website sources. And the results that the user is going to get isn't just a list of links that now they need to go through. It's a synthesized, ready-made answer, often with citations included. So the big shift is this: traditional search is about finding and clicking, while AI search is about asking and getting instantly right on the results page. And so if your content isn't showing up in those citations, you're simply not part of the conversation. Let's walk this across from left to right. So in traditional SEO, this was all about ranking high in the search results. The goal was to grab that top blue link. If you played the scale game well enough, you could win. That meant your SEO strategy was all about chasing high volume keywords, pumping out lots of blog posts or landing pages, and building backlinks to tip the algorithm in your favor. But AI-powered search works a little bit differently, and your goals need to shift as well. So the goal today is to be featured directly in AI answers. Those summaries and citations tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google's AI overview generate. And instead of optimizing for keywords thousands of people might type, we now focus on natural language questions, even if the search volume looks low. That's why a query like best hiking boots for wide feet in rainy weather is so powerful. It might never show up on a keyword report that your SEO team is pulling, but it's exactly what a real buyer would ask in this new AI powered world. And so answering with that level of precision signals expertise to AI, and it makes it far more likely that your brand will be cited. Content strategy has shifted too. So success no longer comes from the sheer volume of pages, but whether your pages are structured, quotable, trustworthy content that AI systems can easily parse and reuse. And finally, trust. Traditional SEO leaned on backlinks as the main currency of credibility, but AI, on the other hand, looks more broadly. It can actually scrub the entire internet to look at your brand mentions, your reviews, and your reputation across every channel, even if those brand mentions don't link directly back to your website. AI is smart enough to make that connection without the link being in place. So the big shift is clear. Traditional search rewarded scale, whereas AI powered search rewards clarity and trust. This is the new standard for visibility. This slide sums up what it takes to create content that AI actually wants to surface. And if you're in a leadership role, don't feel like you need to memorize every tactic here. This is one of those slides you'll want to screenshot and hand to your SEO team. At the big picture level, it comes down to three things: clarity, structure, and trust. Content needs to lead with the answer. Things like TLDRs, FAQs, and summaries that make it instantly scannable. It needs to be structured in a way machines can understand, which means that you're using the proper headings, you're using bullet points, schema, clean formatting. And it needs to show real credibility. That means you're offering original insights, not regurgitated stuff. Your author bylines are fleshed out with credentials. You're using dates to signal relevance. And all of these are signals that prove that your content can be trusted. Now, the good news is, if you've been doing SEO well all along, none of this really seems brand new to you. It's actually not a reinvention, it's a sharpening. The shift is simply this: making sure everything you publish is easy for both people and AI systems to interpret, cite, and share back in an answer. KPI time. All right, this is another good one to screenshot and share with your SEO or marketing team because it shows how measurement is shifting in the age of AI. So, as we know, in traditional SEO, success was all about volume. How many clicks did you get to your site? What does your organic traffic look like? Is that going up month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year? How your rankings are doing, how authoritative your domain is. But in AI powered search, it's shifted more to impact and trust. Here's how that's playing out for us. Click through rate and traffic used to be the main SEO signals. Now, your organic traffic is actually most likely going to be going down. But what should be going up in its place is conversion behavior once you've earned the click. So now the focus should be on post-click behavior. What are users doing once they've actually landed on your site? If we go back to that example of best hiking boots for wide feet in rainy weather, most likely the user is going to be working with AI to get to their point of purchase. They're going to be clicking onto a website once they're already convinced that they found the right hiking boot for them. So once that user now lands on the website, there should be a really easy conversion pathway for them. We should be able to see that that click, in most cases, actually converts into a sale of hiking boots. This is where you measure in GA4 what that post-click behavior looks like. So what are your conversions, your downloads, your form fills? That is all going to become much better gauge of your success in this new era rather than hyper focusing on organic traffic. That, of course, used to be the big win. But today, we also need to start looking at AI referrals. So, what are the mentions and visits coming from tools like ChatGPT or Google AI overviews? Now, the catch here is that not all platforms are reporting this. So your teams often have to monitor it manually. That means going into an AI system, simulating conversations with that system the way that your ideal customer would use it, and then asking it to cite its sources, seeing what sources those tools are pulling out, using that to inform your content strategy. Now, rankings were about getting to page one. Now, authority comes from citation frequency, how often your content is being quoted inside those answers. Again, some tools are starting to track this, but there are gaps. This is one of those areas that our teams are going to need to continuously monitor as we move forward into this new era. Engagement time used to mean how long someone stayed on a page, but now it's about whether your content is useful enough to be held inside the AI's answer. Does AI want to surface your answer again and again as users come to it and ask it similar things? Finally, domain authority was once measured mostly by backlinks, but today it's your presence across a variety of channels. How are your reviews doing? What does your social media look like? What sort of PR mentions do you have? All of this can be tracked in brand monitoring tools. So the bottom line is this: old SEO metrics rewarded scale, AI metrics reward clarity and trust. And while we can measure many of these things today, the tooling is still catching up, which is why companies who get ahead now have a clear edge. Today, when we talk about SEO or visibility, it's no longer just about your website. AI pulls from every corner of the internet: reviews, forums, social, even video transcripts. And it connects all those signals to decide which brands to surface. So the question isn't just, is your website optimized anymore? It's, is your brand showing up in the places AI is already looking for answers? Let's look at what this channel mix ideally looks like for AI visibility and how those different channels contribute to getting cited in AI. So, of course, it all starts with your website. Your website is still your foundation. It's where your content, your structure, your metadata, it's where it all comes together. But instead of it being the main deal, now it's just one piece of the puzzle. Reviews and local, you can think of reviews as digital word of mouth. So Google business profiles, Yelp, Trustpilot, Amazon, even Better Business Bureau, all of these feed credibility signals that AI weighs heavily. So strong, authentic reviews get scraped into AI answers and increase trust. Forums, places like Reddit, Quora, and Stack Exchange might not seem like brand channels, but they're gold mines for AI. A lot of these forums have data deals with different AI platforms, which means that they get cited more regularly. For instance, ChatGPT literally trains on Reddit data. So if your brand is showing up in those conversations on Reddit, in these forums, good or bad, it shapes how AI perceives you. Social. Social is becoming searchable. Google indexes TikTok, LinkedIn tags get scraped, and even Instagram Pro accounts are showing up. It's not just the post itself, it's the engagement and signals around it. YouTube is also becoming huge. YouTube has become one of the most cited sources in AI answers. LLMs scrape transcripts, titles, overlays, so clarity and branding in those elements matter more than ever. PR mentions in reputable publications carry more weight than 10 blog posts. Authority domains build credibility with both humans and AI. And then, of course, your email marketing strategy wraps it all together. Your email marketing can be sending traffic to your websites, to your social media, your YouTube, your PR efforts, and all of that is increasing engagement and trust signals to AI. So, omnichannel isn't about being everywhere just for the sake of it. It's about showing up where AI is looking because it is looking at all of these places. If you're only optimizing your website, you're only part of the conversation. And chances are your competitors are probably filling in those gaps. Let's talk about putting it into action. This is the framework we use to help companies stay visible in AI-powered search. It's designed to take something that feels really complex and break it down into clear, actionable steps. We start with an audit, understanding what you already have and how well it's positioned to be cited by AI. Then we analyze the landscape, where the gaps are, what your competitors are getting credit for, and where you're being left out. From there, we optimize the content that matters most. We create what's missing, and finally, we promote your brand across the channels that AI is pulling from. The goal isn't just more traffic. It's making sure your brand is consistently showing up as the trusted answer when buyers are asking questions, no matter which platform or which search engine they're using. And this framework gives you a roadmap for staying visible and credible in a world where search is being rewritten by AI. So the first step is an audit, of course. And the goal here is simple. Before we can compete in AI-powered search, we need to know what we already have and how it's showing up. This isn't about starting from scratch. It's about taking stock of your existing content, your blog posts, your landing pages, other resources, and seeing which ones are helping you get found and which ones are holding you back. We look at the structure of your content, the credibility signals, and the overall quality to understand whether AI systems would see your content as trustworthy and worth citing. From there, we score and prioritize the content with the highest potential, so you're focusing effort where it will drive visibility fastest. For leaders, the key takeaway is this: an audit ensures you're not wasting energy. Instead of spreading your resources thin, you'll know exactly which content is worth improving, which gaps need filling, and where you're already strong. It's the foundation for everything that comes next. Once we know what content you already have, the next step is to look outward to see what buyers are actually finding in AI-powered search land and where your brand is missing from that conversation. This is about spotting gaps. We identify the high-value questions your audience is asking, then look at what answers those AI tools are surfacing and which sources they're pulling from. That tells us who's winning visibility in your space right now and why. When we compare that back to your content, the blind spots become clear. Maybe you're missing certain formats. Maybe your competitors are showing up with clearer explanations. Or maybe your content simply isn't being recognized as credible. For leaders, the takeaway is simple. If you're not showing up where your buyers are asking questions, your competitors are. This step makes those gaps visible, so we know exactly what to optimize or create next instead of guessing. Once we know where the gaps are, the next step is to optimize the content you already have so it performs better in AI-powered search. At the high level, this is about making your content crystal clear, easy to interpret, and credible, not just for people, but for AI systems that decide whether to surface or cite it. That means organizing information in a way that directly answers user questions, making it super scannable using the correct headings and schema markups, and ensuring that structure signals are sending authority. We also look at whether your content goes deep enough to show true expertise. Surface level articles don't get cited. It's not impressive to AI to regurgitate information that is all over the internet already. What you need is comprehensive, unique points of view, well structured content. And presentation matters. Clean layouts and accessible formatting make it far more likely that AI engines will trust and reuse your material. For leaders, the key takeaway is this: optimization protects the investment you've already made in content. Instead of publishing more and more pages, you get more value from what you already have by making it discoverable, trusted, and positioned to show up in AI answers. After we've optimized what you already have, you guessed it, the next step is creating new content that fills the gaps we uncovered. This isn't about producing more blog posts for the sake of it. It's about creating the right content in the right places where your buyers and AI systems are already looking for answers. We prioritize the questions and topics that matter most, especially the ones your competitors are being cited for, but you're not. Then we build content designed to be clear, scannable, and credible, so it's easy for both people and AI to trust and reuse. For leaders, the key point is this: new content is where differentiation happens. Your unique expertise, your proprietary data, and your perspectives are what make you stand out in an AI-driven landscape. By investing here, you're not just adding more pages to your site. You're building authority that ensures your brand is the one cited and recommended when it matters most. The final step in this whole framework is the omni-channel promotion, of course. And this is where visibility turns into credibility. It's no longer enough to have great content on your site, as we know well by now. AI systems are scanning the entire digital landscape, which means your reputation across third-party platforms, publications, and channels plays a major role in whether your brand gets cited or overlooked. For leaders, this comes down to three big levers. Reputation. Strong, authentic reviews on trusted platforms are going to build credibility fast that AI engines absolutely pick up on. Authority. Publishing thought leadership or original insights beyond your website establishes your brand as a go-to expert. And visibility. PR, partnerships, and earned mentions expand your footprint so AI can't ignore you. The takeaway here is simple. Promotion amplifies all the work you've done in earlier steps. It ensures your brand isn't just visible on your own site, but consistently recognized across the ecosystem, making you the trusted citation source AI engines surface again and again. Before we wrap up, I want to point you to another resource we've been putting a lot of energy into, our podcast, Revenue Rewired. Our CEO, Jay, and our COO, Sarah, release new episodes every week where they dig into real-world growth strategies, leadership lessons, and of course, how AI is changing the way companies go to market. If you're short on time, we've even got quick hit AI shorts that are just a couple of minutes each. Perfect if you want bite-sized insights on topics like choosing the right AI tools, where to start with AI in your company, or even how to get your team on board with adoption. So if you enjoyed today's session and want to keep learning in a more casual, ongoing way, I definitely recommend checking it out. Just search for Revenue Rewired anywhere you get your podcasts. Thanks for spending this time with me. If you take one thing away today, it's this: the way your buyers find you is changing faster than ever, and the companies who adapt will own visibility in AI-driven search. At StreamCan, this is the exact work we do with B2B companies who want to turn marketing into their best sales weapon. If you want clarity on where your company stands today, I want to give you two options to reach out. First, the QR code you're looking at takes you to our CEO, Jay Feitlinger. Jay has 25 years of experience in B2B growth, and he loves having conversations with leaders about how to move their businesses forward. If you are interested in a discussion about your growth goals, schedule a time directly with him. Second, my contact information is right here on the screen, so feel free to email me or connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer follow-up questions and share a snapshot of how visible your brand is in this new AI-powered search landscape. I hope you found this webinar valuable, and we look forward to connecting with you in the near future. If you're not doing it yet, make sure to check out our blog at streamcaninteractive.com. AI and SEO, as you know by now, are changing quickly, and our posts are designed to keep you ahead of the latest trends and best practices.